Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Back with another video. It's been a while, but I've been busy packing tea up, and that is a very time consuming process since I have to vacuum seal everything pretty much. Um, Today I'm drinking something special. I've already bitten into this, as you can see. Not literally, but I picked away at the edge. This is a tuos that was produced by a dealer for one of the larger factories in Yunnan, and this dealer moves enough volume that they were able to have the factory press these tuos for them using material that they sourced along with the factory's own material. And it's a blend of Bulang, Gushu, and wild tea from Wuliangshan. So it's something special, and it's been extremely popular. Almost the entire first production run is gone. I was very lucky to be able to get 8 of these tuos, and yeah, once they're gone, they're gone. I don't know if I'll be able to get more unless I jump on them right now, but I will put them up for sale very shortly, like maybe in the next couple of hours. So I let these rest a little bit first because they weren't as interesting when I first got them, but they've really opened up here in Hong Kong once since I've had them, even in the cooler months now. Like it's a lot cooler in November than it was in the peak of summer. Obviously, well, might not be obvious to everyone, but Hong Kong does cool down rather significantly in most years anyway. At least for a few weeks. But this year it's cooled down in November. It's really pleasant, and it's been an extended, pleasant, well, weather's been pleasant for over a month, which is unusual. It's not usually this nice for this long. It usually drops, it gets really cold, or it gets hot again. So yeah, this is like my favorite time of year for sure. And I'm really enjoying the weather because I can keep the windows open when the humidity drops down to a bearable level. If it's over 70, we run dehumidifiers at my home since we don't want mold, and that is a serious issue. Like, if you don't stay on top of humidity here, you can end up with mold behind your furniture, and your clothes might mold, and there's all kinds of possibilities. So we do control humidity at home. In the warehouse, I do control it with air conditioning, and I do run dehumidifiers in the room where I store oolongs and other goods. Not in the pool air room, but I do run air conditioning there. So anyway, let's give this a try using a Damascus pick. It's forged Damascus from China, and it's got a little bit of rust on it, a little bit of pitting that I polished out. I polished out the active rust at least, and you can't really see the pattern as well now, since the phosphate layer or well, whatever substance they use to bring out the pattern has been worn down by me polishing it. You can see it on the handle still. It was nice and dark. So this is a really nice pick. I used to carry it in my pocket, which is why it had started to rust. I guess it was my sweat reacting with the metal. So I've cleaned it up. It's still totally usable, of course, just not as pretty as it once was. Although it does look, it has a certain appeal to it now that it's got some patina on it. Okay, let's dig into this. Breaking up nice and easy. A little bit more. And I like to pick downward because it's safer. If the pick slips, it's not going into my hand, it's going into the table, which isn't ideal either, but it's better than it going into my hand. Okay, so we got a fair bit of dust here, which is alright. Not too much since the tea isn't completely dry. And I'm using my carafe today in a Dai Gaiwan. So let's let that warm up. And yeah, the change in this tea was remarkable from when I first got it. I was very excited to try this stuff because it's not something you can really get anywhere else. And I'm not going to reveal the name of the factory either. That's between me and the dealer, basically. Like, this is going to be an exclusive, and it's sold without wrapper and without any kind of indication as to the source. But trust me, it's one of the largest factories in Yunnan. So yeah, I was very fortunate to chance upon these. The dealer let me know that they had them, and I decided to give them a try since it sounded interesting, and I like the factory's other productions. Okay, that should do it for the warming stage. Gonna do my circular pour, my characteristic pour. A little unconventional, but that's what I do. Okay, so let's start with some larger pieces, and we'll add a little more of this good stuff. So if you're adding dust to your teapot or gaiwan, your first infusion you probably want to shorten down because it's gonna hit harder. I usually start at 45 seconds for compressed pu'er. Less if it's gongting or mao chao. But if you have a lot of dust in the mix, like today, let it settle down first at the bottom so it doesn't come out when I pour. Oh, there's still a bunch of dust there. So let's put it all in. Why not? And that's a good thing about breaking up on one of these. You can use it as a funnel of sorts. I don't have one of those wood trays that people use for breaking up pu'er. I've never had one. Don't really want one either. Although it looks good, I guess. I can get by just fine without one. Okay, so there we go. Just give it a little rinse. And the material is pretty good. It's nice and clean. Let's move that out of the way. And we'll give it a good rinse first. So yeah, some people like to flash rinse pu'er, not me. I give it a proper rinse because it needs to open up too. Okay, that should about do it. I'm not using the saucer with this gaiwan today. You don't really need it. It looks good and all, but as far as actually using the gaiwan, it's not really necessary. Okay, and I'm only going to rinse once. There's a little bit of smoke, a little bit of green character here. It smells a little bit like a green tea from Yunnan, but there's also a lovely sweetness to this. Wildflower and fruit. Grapey blueberry. So very similar to the last session I had with it. It's been a few days since I last had this, so not massive change, of course. Only a very slightest change, but let's see how it is today. And yeah, lots of chop today because I broke off a lot of dust in the process of chipping away at the tuo. It's inevitable with tuos sometimes, well usually because of the tight compression. Okay, and there's lots of material in there, lots of leaf today, so it's going to be a strong session. Let's not brew too long for the first infusion. I'll give that maybe 20 seconds. Let's look up my little timer here. Okay. So what are you guys drinking today? I actually really enjoy this tea. It's got pleasant, calming energy, and it's not a chachi bomb to me, but it's good material and tasty, and it's got character to it that I associate with wild tea, and I really enjoy that. So no complaints from me. So normally you would pour the residual rinse into the cup and you'd pour out the cup, but I'm not bothering with that today. You might actually keep the temperature higher by not doing that, I don't know. Yeah, still a bit of smoke there, but you don't actually really get much of that in the cup with this stuff. In fact, I might not get any at all, but we'll see. Okay. The Bodhidharma is getting a nice session today too. pouring out lots today. Wow, that's really expanding. And this is really mixed grade. There's all kinds of different levels of material in there, which is common with a lot of productions coming out of Yunnan, single origin productions from smaller producers, since they buy bulk material and it's not really sorted that well, especially when you're buying from tribal producers, since they consume a lot of the different leaf. There's no Huangpian or any of that in there. There's no real stem. It's just there's everything from tips down to maybe grade 4 or 5 leaf at the most. I don't see anything really large in there, but it's chopped up too, so it's hard to say. But I don't know. Even for the whole leaves, there are a bunch of whole leaves in there too. There's nothing really large in there, so it is higher grade material, which is nice. Okay. So a bit bitter today. That's because of the dust. It wasn't bitter at all the last time I had this. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're throwing in a lot of dust, you're going to have a more bitter session with Yesheng. Which is why I shortened down the first infusion. So yeah, there's fruit and wildflower. But this is really bitter today. Not overwhelming by any means. You can see me drinking it. I'm not wincing or anything. But maybe a 4 or 5 on the bitterness scale because of the dust. While previously it was under a 1. So dust does make a significant difference, for sure. You could even flash infuse for the first one and then go longer after. So I got quite the payload here from the dust. It's got nice umami as well, and cool way sweetness after the swallow. You can definitely feel that sweetness rising back up, and I felt that right away. There's just a lot going on here, so I can't comment on everything all at once. The fruit and floral is less pronounced right now because it was a shorter infusion, so with dust you get less of the flavor and more of the astringency and bitterness right away. So that's the downside to brewing at dust. But if you mix it, it's not that bad. I drink it all. Cantaloupe and the aftertaste, cantaloupe and date, which I get from a lot of stuff. Which also makes me wonder if this stuff's been oxidized a la oolong, since that's a note that I get from a lot of oolong tea as well, especially Taiwanese oolongs. So yeah, there's definitely been a lot of influence on pu'er processing in Yunnan from Taiwan. And you can definitely taste that with these younger single origin things. They're basically Yunnan high mountain oolong. And the Taiwanese got in there really early as well and started messing with pu'er production. So yeah, the opening up of China allowed the Taiwanese to go in and really have some fun. And Hong Kongers as well, of course. Okay. Ooh, yeah. The umami and the kuwei are really nice in that. Even with the dust. So, just getting the, trying to get the excess off the lid here. Okay. We won't go too long since this is the second infusion. Let's go another 10 seconds from now. And then we'll pour it out. And a nice wildflower aftertaste, sweet wildflower after the swallow as well. So this is a very reasonably priced tea as well. It's going to be under $40 a tuo, significantly under. So yeah, it's not a bad deal at all for what you're getting. Still some of the smoke on the lid. I didn't get any of the smoke at all in the cup, so it's just residual smoke from shating when they fried it. The initial processing to stop the leaf from going any further and to dry it out as well. Fixing basically. Yeah. It's quite dark in the cup. more green character this time. Kind of like green tea, but Yunnan green tea specifically. So it's possible some of the material was taken a little too high temperature-wise, but it's hard to say. I do get this from Yesheng, so it could be that, or it could just be from the process itself. Not all Yesheng will have this, but this stuff does. But this stuff's also quite fresh still, so. Yeah, nice bitterness in the aftertaste. Cool way. Still persisting. And yeah, there was a lot of dust in there, so. Still getting the wildflower. Quite bracing today with the dust in it, but definitely not unbearable. But yeah, you want to go at these tuos with care if you don't want to generate too much dust. So I was getting a candy grape blueberry flavor from this in the last session. I'm getting that now, but not as intensely because of the change in material size in the Gaiwan. Okay. I still have some residual liqueur in there. We'll just top it up. And the chachi is hitting me now. So we'll give it a full minute this time. I started at 16:30 on my clock. Wow, this clock's really going quick today. And I'll go until 17:30, so another 30 seconds or so. Yeah, I can really feel the calm now. Not a bad way to start the day at all. Yesheng is a good substitute for green tea. If you want something to give you a nice theanine fix in the morning, and you get other polyphenols too. And yeah, I did say earlier this year that I would switch to drinking Yesheng exclusively for my morning green tea needs. But no, I like green tea as well, so I'm not gonna cut it out entirely. I can drink both. So yeah, with Gaiwans and longer infusions, they can get really hot. Yeah, this is going to be a strong infusion. I'm really going hard today. Might be 10 or 11 grams for 150 there. Which for me is fairly normal. But, oh yeah, now I can definitely get the grape and the aftertaste. It's like Concord grape. And wildflower, excuse me. I just had breakfast too, so. I can taste the sambal that I had this morning. Sambal is an Indonesian Malaysian hot sauce that originally came over from the south of India. Well, yeah, the whole concept. And there's hundreds of types. And this was sambal nasi padang, which is from West Sumatra. The recipe is originally, but this was made in Singapore. And yeah, I can taste it on the way back up now after burping. So yeah, tea in the morning will get me burping, especially pu'er, I think, raw or show. I do enjoy pu'er in the morning. Make my mouth water too. Not much astringency to this at all, even with the dust. So this is good stuff. It should age pretty well. At least the Wuliangshan section of it, part of it should. I don't know about the Bulang. Time will tell. But I don't think these will last that long. They're all going to go pretty quickly. I don't know how much I get to keep. I get to keep this portion at least. But the rest will be sold as single tuos for those who want to try one. Nice calm. Nice calming effect. Less bitterness now. Yeah, that's what happens. The first few infusions, the dust hits like a sledgehammer, and then now we're getting onto the meat and potatoes of the session, where The dust is mostly infused out. And now I'm getting the real character. So some people don't even mess with the dust. They just discard it. I know someone here who throws out kilos of pu'er dust a week because they break up cakes before sale. Hong Kong people are used to buying chunks of pu'er versus actual cakes in many cases, since a lot of people aren't tea aficionados, they just need tea to drink. And the standard of what's sold here as daily drinker level tea is pretty high. In a lot of cases, not all cases, there is some really low grade tea sold here for people who can't afford better, or people who don't know better. But yeah, there is some amazing loose tea sold here, because that's what we drink. That's what we always have consumed here, as long as I've been alive, and longer even. So while cakes have been around, it's more for the dedicated drinker, I feel. So that's just a quirk of the Hong Kong market, where people don't buy whole cakes and tuos and bricks as much as on the mainland, or since that's a much newer market, really. Newer in the sense that people didn't really have the money to throw around and get into tea during communism. Like, China was shut down and life was hard. So yeah, the way the market's opened up since the 90s has really changed things up a lot. Like, a lot of things are very different up there from down here now. In many cases, we still do what we have done all along, which is cool. We have our own history and our own culture, which we're trying to protect. Oh, man. So, Pue, getting the grape. Not as much of the wildflower today, interestingly. We'll see as we proceed. I'm very chill off this as well. So, very good cha-chi effect today for me. Which is not a bad way to start the day at all. I do like to start off with something calming. I might have a green after this, actually. Not that I need it. This is definitely doing what I needed to do. I'm not even timing this. Alright, let's give it another minute from now. So at 24. This is going to be a long video today, apparently. I'm just rambling on and enjoying my tea. Fortunately, I don't have any pizza or a clone. Sorry, Santo, lo siento. No puedo comer pizza con mi twin, mi gemelo, my clone. Yeah, I wish I had a clone. I'd get a lot more work done if I had someone just like me to do stuff. I'm a little particular about how I want stuff done as well. So if I was to hire someone on, not that I can afford it, but if I could, it would be tricky to find someone who can, do stuff to my standards, because I want it done my way, and that's an issue. I just don't want my tea broken or damaged or anything wrapped poorly. I need stuff. I want stuff to get there in one piece, and yeah, I would just be very upset if stuff got damaged. It does happen occasionally, not often, but it does happen. I can think of 2 occasions out of hundreds where there's been some damage. So yeah, I'm not even really timing this anymore. I'm in the zone now. Alright, I think that should about do it. Yeah, there is something floral going on here, but it's different from the last session. And definite grape in the aftertaste, which I like. So I'm getting green, oolong, and Yesheng notes all at once with this. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's just a mixed batch of material, and well, it is 2 different materials at the very least. We know there's 2 different types of material in here. Wow, very sweet. So there's a lot of sweet action going on here as well from the material, which should come out further with more time down here, I think. But this is a very interesting tea and a very pleasant tea for the money. And a definite character that I would associate with wild tea. Possibly the Gushu as well, but yeah, I can definitely tell that there's more to this than just Wuliangshan from my knowledge of material from that area that will be used in this factory's productions. So good stuff. Still cool way. Umami. Grape in the finish. And just an incredibly powerful chachi today. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm getting a much stronger hit from this today. Could just be the higher ratio than last time, or the fact that it's broken up. I don't know, but this is really. Oh, I slept a lot. That's why. I finally had a good night's sleep. That makes a really big difference. Wow. Yeah, this is hitting me like a sledgehammer. The wildflower isn't as dominant today, for whatever reason. It could be that I just ate as well. Eating sambal before tea session will do that, since there's oil in it. And eggs too. I had my eggs done over easy, and obviously there's oil in it. Well, not obviously, because you can do them without oil, I guess, without any grease in the pan. But yeah, my palate's not entirely on point this morning because of my breakfast right before this. I usually have fruit after, which does help to cleanse the palate, but I didn't do that this morning. Well, not yet. It's still over there waiting for me. I needed some tea this morning. Well, I need tea every morning almost, but I need my tea now. Okay, we're getting to almost half an hour here, and I don't usually like to shoot for that long, since you guys would get bored. We can only stay focused for so long. So I'll call it quits after this last infusion. Let's go until 29 minutes on my clock, so another 40 seconds or so, and then I'll pour it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the session. I know I did, even with the dust. Not ideal, but still very much drinkable, and it's what I need to get going in the day. I just need a good session in the morning. And dust or no dust, I enjoyed the session. Although I would have liked to have had more of the wildflower come up, since it's quite a nice sweet wildflower from this particular material that I've had in the last few sessions. I think it's just overpowered, and it's my palate today. So, yeah, not every session is going to be the same, especially if you've just eaten something very strong and flavorful. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. 29 and 15. So, a little longer than I expected to go. Also, it's significantly warmer today. It was cooler the last time I was brewing this tea. So that does make a massive difference. It's about 4 Celsius or 5 Celsius warmer today. And I don't have the windows open, so it's starting to heat up. Okay, much lighter now. Yeah, I'm getting a note I associate with Yunnan green tea, smoky Assam green tea, without the actual smoke. maybe just a hint of smoke, very slightest hint. So if you don't like any smoke at all, maybe not this tea for you. But I wouldn't call this smoky, not remotely. There's definitely stuff I would call smoky. This isn't it. Yeah, the Kuwait is really quite nice. And then that sweetness rising back up. I like the contrast between that. Like there's some bitterness, and then you get the sweetness rising back up, and then you get the sweet aromatics on the finish. Yeah, blueberry as well. It's kind of blueberry and grape together, which I really like. It's not the only Sheng I've had this from. I had it from the Haiwan Wuliangshan this year, but different. That's more dominant. That's more intense as far as that goes. It's also a lot more expensive, but yeah, this is really a steal for what you're getting. Still making me burp. I think I might keep going, but not on camera. And just to show you how hard I'm going, I am going pretty hard. Yeah, smells like green tea, like stewed out green tea. So I wonder if at least part of the material in here has been taken a little too far and might actually be green tea. Blended into a cake, then it's going to age a certain way. It's going to be less complex over time, but there is material in here that I know is solid too. So you're going to get both. You're going to get the green tea effect, and you're going to get the pu'er thing going on. So yeah, no complaints from me. I am enjoying this stuff. How will it age? That remains to be seen, and I don't think it's going to be around long enough to age really. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.